Ladies and gentlemen, the Fields with their kids. This is a first.
So we're live. This is how we start.
This is how we do it.
So Jocelyn, keep in mind you can hear everything in the background that you say. Okay. We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah,
so this is what I love about the Fields. They got the kids in tow. Everything you guys do is with the family. Mm-hmm. And you guys have been, Ryan grew up on Central Coast, and then you guys moved here as a couple, in 2018? 19? 17.
Yeah, I never thought I'd want to move back after high school, kind of growing up in the small town Templeton. But then after having kids and getting married and settling down, definitely priorities change. And Jackie really wanted to move to the Central Coast.
Wait, where were you guys before?
I went down to San Diego for school. She grew up in Orange County, and then before moving up here, we were in Long Beach.
Mm-hmm. And what were you guys doing in Long Beach?
Also, I lied. It was 2018. I got my years messed up.
That's
okay.
What we said.
Well, it's okay. What were you guys doing in Long Beach?
All right. So Ryan loves he went too high. We got to go right here. Ryan was brewing at Lost Abbey when I met him. That was his first job in beer in San Diego. And I was at a Beachwood barbecue doing a beer program there when we met. So I moved from Orange County to San Clemente when he took his job down up there when he relocated to Pizza Port, San Clemente. Lived there for a hot minute, got pregnant, decided, we don't want to raise our kids in Southern California. So I finally convinced him to relocate.
Nice.
But, with the concept in mind that we wanted this space that was so open and welcoming. So
it was always the plan to start your own brewery when you moved up, or did that happen later?
Yeah, no, that was the plan. When we moved up, when we started dating, we definitely weren't opening a brewery. I was in school for planning. Ryan was brewing. We kind of, I don't know. You don't know what you're doing sometimes, and then you start your family, and you're like, oh, wait, we really got to know what we're going to do. And people used to joke all the time, when you two start your brewery. And so then that story just kind of became our story.
Oh, I love it.
I think it was always kind of something we dreamed of, but you never know if it's going to actually become a reality. But then when we realized we really wanted to get up on the Central Coast, it kind of was one of the ways for us to actually get up here, kind of create jobs for ourselves in a way, which kind of worked, I guess.
Yeah, Brian has a job.
You kind of have a job.
Kind of have a job. Created jobs for ourselves. That's
we have
so
a new 5-year plan, and it's looking promising.
That's funny. On your LinkedIn, it just says head brewer, kind of a job. Yeah.
Kind of all-consuming.
It's a volunteer job.
That's so funny. Oh my god.
Yeah, I've got loads of questions about that. You'd obviously been brewing, and you'd been in the space too, and so I'm like, those are heavy hitter breweries.
Yeah. We were very, very fortunate. So when I moved down to San Clemente to be with Ryan, I left Beachwood and then had my family remove us because our apartment was 47 steps up a hillside. And I was like, I'm not doing that with a baby in my arms. And so we relocated, and then Ryan got offered this job the next week to start Beachwood Blendery, which was a startup all barrel program mimicking lambic inspired ales or Beachwood for my old employer. And I was like, just when I left, I'm going right back.
That's funny.
Yeah, we definitely have complementing skill sets in the industry. So we've both been in the industry since 2007, 8.
Yeah.
And I'm more brewing, operations, building stuff, maybe some of the higher end business stuff. And she's really, really good at managing HR, events, compliance, pretty much everything that did run a business.
I used to do the finances. I took that hat off. It's great.
That's nice.
So it was definitely a yin and yang kind of thing where when we started this, we realized we both kind of had to have our lanes, trust each other to do our part. And yeah, I definitely would have never started a brewery without her. That's for sure.
Ditto.
Yeah, you guys definitely complement each other.
Yeah. What's the difference between the beers that you were used to brewing in Southern California and the beers you're brewing now? Is it much of a departure?
I'd say it's a little mix of everything, I would say. I got a lot of inspiration from all the spots I work. So Lost Abbey, I definitely fell in love with sour beer and took some of that with me along. And then I went and got a head brewer job at Pizza Port, which is a sister company of them, and just learned a lot about making pub style beers, just IPAs, brown ales, all this, your kind of standard old school traditional styles. And then I went to help start Beachwood Blendery, where I focused 100% on making sour beer. And now coming back, we really wanted to make beer that's just really drinkable and approachable
Yeah.
and also traditional. We're not trying to go super gimmicky, and we just want to make really good beer that people want to come in and drink. And I think it's a little bit of a mix of all that. We still have a sour program in the back going, but it's not necessarily the focus. But yeah, so I think we took a lot of inspiration from the other spots, both Beechwood and Pizza Port, when we built our spot.
Yeah.
For sure.
Your
And
beer
my
is really, really good.
Well, I mean, we talk about awards, but we'll get to that.
oh
but
my gosh.
it's award winning.
But I mean, the challenge for Ryan in our space, I told him, I want people when they walk in, if they say, I don't like beer, because I was really spoiled and had like 22 rotating tap lists when I was in front of house. And it was really nice. So people who think they don't like beer, you're like, okay, but what do you drink? And then finding that something special on the board and they take a sip, they're like, what? Oh, I like this, but I don't like beer. I'm like, yeah, surprise.
Yeah, that's
because
cute. I
there's
love
so
that.
much variation out there that a lot of people haven't been exposed to, or they haven't been exposed to the right one. And so the challenge for Ryan is to make clean, easy drinking beers, but that are super approachable.
Yeah. That's what I found. I think Ryan, when I first came to you guys' brewery, you're like, hey, try this and try that. I'm like, oh my God, these are amazing. You know, and you find the ones that you really love there, and you're just like, oh, they're so delicious.
And they're always rotating.
They're always
so.
rotating.
When you say approachable, though, I'm curious, what does that mean for people? I mean, because a lot of times I hear people say, I don't like hoppy, like bitter beer. It's like, okay, well, like is no hops or low bitterness approachable, or is it what do you think?
Sometimes it's just an IPA that isn't overly bitter.
Mm-hmm.
My definition of approachable, and what I think makes a really good beer when you're thinking about judging a beer or analyzing it, is how fast do you want to take another sip, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like when you take that sip, is it like, oh man, that just like left my palate really clean, and like I really like the flavors, and immediately your brain says, oh, I want to go back for another sip. To me, that's
I love that.
approachable. If you take a sip and you're like just blasted with flavor and it like lingers on your palate and there's some astringency or something, you're like, I'm gonna wait on another sip. Then to me, that's the difference between approachable or not approachable.
So it doesn't.
Drinkability sells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean like that it's not an IPA, because I think you guys tell me, but it seems like even with the push to, West Coast IPAs and pushing a lot of the hop additions to the back end for more aroma and stuff, it's not like they're bitter, but I like IPAs. So I don't know, but you get that aroma is amazing. So I don't know. I just hear people say a lot, like, I don't like IPAs. I don't like the bitterness. It's like, well, they don't have to be bitter.
That like all hops have different flavor profiles. And then can I tell my one story that I really like about when we first moved up here? I've been using it a lot lately to explain Ryan's like approach. So we came up and we did a collab like while we were building out, and he comes home afterwards and he's like digging under the bed. I'm like, what is happening? And there's like just things coming out from under the bed, like all of this old storage. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, oh, I'm checking something. And he finds this binder of his from back in Pizza Port days or something. I don't even know. This binder of beer comes out of nowhere. And then he's like, oh yeah, okay. I'm like, what? He's like, I haven't made clean beer in a few years. And I just like thought those numbers seemed different than what I was used to. And he was right. He was like, okay, it is like half, but the approachability, like we look at it from crushable, drinkable. And a lot of people are going for that style you're talking about, right? That punch in the face, that aggressive, that it's going to leave an impression. For us, we really want that like approachability and drinkability. It's really on how you
Are you guys, is there a big push for lower, I mean, I see it in the cocktail space, like lower ABV. Is it the same in the beer world? Is that more of a trend these days?
I would say, I mean, there's definitely a big push for non-alcoholic beer right now. That's definitely a big trend. We do pretty well with lower ABV beers. I mean, most of our beers fall in like the 5 to 6 range. So we don't see a big push to make the high ABV stuff. Like it's nice to have 1 or 2 on just for the people that want it, but that's definitely not the biggest movers for sure.
We've tried doing like a wild ale that was 3.8% and it did pretty good. You just have to have the right market, and it doesn't move as fast, so you just have to make a little less and be mindful.
What's your like? I'm sure people ask you this all the time, and you probably try to avoid. But like, what's your favorite beers that you drink?
It's like your children.
Yeah.
You love them all different.
Earmuffs,
different.
kids.
Different amounts.
It depends on
Depends on the day, where we're at, who's
Totally.
been acting up.
which beer is tasting the best at that moment.
At that moment, yeah.
Like, I would say my favorite beer is the the freshest beer or the beer that's right in front of me. But the go-to styles that I drink on a regular basis are Pilsner and IPA.
Okay.
Or like
Your
pale ale.
imperial stouts are like.
What was that one?
good.
What was that one we had, Ryan, at your place that you gave us a little taster of?
The Unsuck in Time Imperial Coffee Stout.
That was
That's what I was talking about.
really
That one
good.
has a cult following. We can't.
So good.
That one had to turn into a year-round beer because the customers were getting mad when it went off.
Wasn't there? Like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original goal was not to make the same beer like twice in a row. So yes, we have maybe an imperial stout on, but another stout would come in. And some people have just become so culty about their specific beers, or we have, a select tap handle at somewhere that only wants this beer.
What's the motivation for that rotating system? Because it's like, on the one hand, you could say, well, hey, if it works, let's just keep it. But then is it more of a creative, artistic thing? It's like, I don't want to get bored making the same beer.
I think that was kind of part of this concept. When Ryan and I met, he was doing production brewing for not a large brewery by any means, but, producing a lot of the same beer to bottle and put out on the shelves locally. And he just kind of, when he got that pub experience, he was like, oh, this is really fun because the creativity was there. And so we had offers from people to start a few breweries, but they wanted more of that like contracted, very big brain, like big operation. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that, because he loses that energy of art that he gets from making the beer itself.
I think also the customers really appreciate it, especially we're very much like a locals-based spot, and they know that they can come in and the list isn't always going to be exactly the same. They're not going to get bored. They're going to get to try something new. They're going to get to like hear me chat about what new hops we got in or what new collaboration we're doing. And it's like exciting for everyone. It's not just the same thing you're walking into every
Well, it's cool
time.
from an educational standpoint. You guys get to be behind the bar and, like you said, telling them about new hops, and the customers are learning and enjoying new things, and maybe they find their new next favorite beer,
Yep.
or style or whatever, because then they never would have considered it had you not done that model. So
Yeah.
that's really cool.
And I mean, that's what I think that mindset comes from being in a beer bar that I was in with 20 taps, right?
Yeah.
So just always having something different for people and challenging them to try new things, it opens up the conversation, and it makes it fun for our staff too. I think like you can pour the same beer 100 times a day, and cool, that's great, that's money, it's good for business, but it's also really fun to challenge your customers and get them to like be excited about trying new things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Distribution. You guys are you guys self-distributing?
Yeah, we do a little bit of distribution, but we're primarily self-distro. We do some cans through Lime Ventures throughout all of California, and we're starting with a distributor that just delivers for us called Beer Gang down in LA, Orange County. But the most of the beer we send out is self-distro.
And then is most of this your sales in your tap room?
The most of the revenue is from the tap room, but most of the beer is in self-distro.
Margins, right?
So like we probably send about 75% of the beer goes out into distribution, but
Oh, really?
a lot
Wow.
more of the revenue comes from tasting room.
To be fair,
Yeah.
we were never going to be a production brewery. We thought maybe we'd have a few handles out in the wild just to like brand awareness, but we opened 3 months before the pandemic started, so we didn't
Oh my
really get to build
gosh.
up the brand as much as we had anticipated. So thank goodness for Plan B, which was increased whole keg sales, but that went away real quick too with everything. And then it was package and distro to
Yeah.
bottle shops. So we went with all the plans,
Yeah.
What's-
Gosh, that's so stressful.
and now we're like backpedaling kind of out of it and figuring out what the real model is again.
Yeah. Yeah. The pandemic throws monkey wrenches.
Perfect timing.
What's been the most exciting part of this whole journey, and then the hardest?
Ooh.
It's really awesome, like, from just the dopamine excitement level, winning the awards, I would say. And we had a really good 2022 where we just like
You guys won
combination of just
Brewery
making
of
good
the
beer
Year.
and good luck, and we got 7 gold medals, 4 at the World Beer Cup and 3 at Great
But we
American
got
Beer
our
Festival.
first gold medal from Great American Beer Festival in 2021.
Yeah.
And then I just kept saying 22 is my lucky number, so fingers crossed it's a good year.
Yeah,
That exploded.
that's crazy.
huge increase.
So wait, you guys won Brewery of the Year in
2022.
2022. What was 2021? Is that for one of the brown
Yeah,
Ale?
the brown ale was the first one to win
Pine
the
Mountain
gold.
Monolith.
And then 2022 was Brewery of the Year for like they measure it by like volume or something.
How many
barrels?
points? Yeah, you're in different weight class basically for
Okay.
brewery, and it's based on how many points you get, and you get a certain amount of points for each medal. So it's like since we've got 3 gold medals, that gave us enough points to get the Brewery of the Year at the
Oh,
Brewery
wow.
Festival. Yeah.
That's sweet.
That is so cool. That is awesome. That's a big
But
deal.
but the World Beer Cup, we were the first craft brewery to ever win 4 gold medals in one World Beer Cup.
It's blind tastings.
Yeah.
Is
And
there,
there's only 1 gold and 1 silver and 1 bronze in each category.
Gosh, that's
this is
amazing.
a really get to Wild Fields Brewery.
You have to
people.
go
Come
to Wildfield Brewery.
This is a
Damn.
big deal.
It's the best beer. I mean, I tell people it's the best beer.
No,
in
it
the
really is. I had a couple.
It could be
um,
argued it's the best beer in the country.
in the country. Yeah.
I mean, let's just
In the
call it
world.
now. I mean,
certain beers.
who you can argue with? So okay, that's a huge accomplishment. What's been like the biggest challenge? I mean, you guys went through the pandemic and starting a business. I mean, I know there's been many, but
Yeah, it's hard to pick just one.
Staying married,
yeah.
staying good parents.
We had to shut down our spot 4 times
Oh,
and basically hire new staff.
I mean, I guess
Every
we didn't
single
have
time.
to, but we were just trying. Every time there was a chance, we would just try and go full steam ahead again, and then the world just fell back apart every
Yeah.
time.
We had to raise lots of money to get this started and loan lots of money, and then just we didn't
that was brutal.
we didn't have a lot of like anything to fall back on really. So we just had to keep raising money, keep refinancing, keep
And we're
going more
refinancing
into debt.
again. So we got an SBA loan. We found a bank before we even moved up here, started the discussions with him, made me the founding member so I could sign everything without Ryan because he stayed home for 3 months. Move up here. And then the bank, 6 months into building out, was like, actually, that SBA loan for $300,000, we don't have it. We're not going to loan you. And we were already building out. So we had to find a new bank. But we just refinanced. That was 11.25%. So now we've just refinanced out of it
good
again.
for you guys.
But it's it's the amount of changes and adaptations we've had to do.
Oh man.
That's crazy.
It's everyone I talk to in this industry is this is just exhausting. The ebbs and
Yeah,
flows.
so one of our mentors from Beechwood had been in business for 15 years, said that 2023 was the hardest year that he's ever been through as a business owner.
Wow.
And that was in 2023, everyone's like, oh, you made it through the
Yeah.
pandemic. It's like, yeah, but this year is actually harder than
It's similar to
going
real
through it.
estate. 2023 was
Yeah.
probably the hardest year in
yeah,
real
I
estate.
think
we've had.
and we were all just playing catch up, but also learning new things, and it's been wild.
Yeah.
Well, here's
What
to
was it about
2024. huh?
2024, baby?
Yeah.
So what was it about 2023 that made it particularly hard? We talk about it all the time in real estate, but for a brewery.
I mean, we had been fueled by a lot of grants and money that was getting thrown out there, and because we couldn't have a operating business model the way it was in 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
Right? So we were being fueled on that, and all of a sudden that stopped. But people still weren't still weren't back to pre-pandemic business levels, right? And we had a bunch of other debt that we had acquired, and we were still the employment market was still horrible.
gosh.
We were just hiring anyone that would walk in the door. We couldn't be picky about who we were hiring.
It was.
And the interest rates going up was inflation. Our costs of food went up 50% from 2020 to now.
Man.
Yeah.
It's like blow after
It's hard to
blow.
plan for.
It's very hard to
every
plan
year
for.
the minimum wage was going up.
Yeah. All of
Yeah,
our
the employment-
predictions, we didn't have those. We had none of this in the plan, right? So everything just went off the rails on multiple times, and you would try and get it back on track, right? You'd cost stuff out, and then something else dramatically changes.
I remember talking to both of you guys through the pandemic, and it was just I'm rooting for you. So
Just keep
crazy.
smiling. Everything's
smiling.
going to be great.
Yeah, but those are long, hard days. You guys put in long hours.
I was kitchen managing, so I think I was working 70 plus hours a week, and then we had a nanny, so I didn't see our kids for 2 years.
Yeah, we were having dinner with our kids on average once a week for a year or two.
2 years minimum.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
It was.
But now
brutal.
we're back to almost it.
Well, now
every day.
you bring the kids with you, and we get to experience their fun personality.
Yeah.
Does Joss want to say one thing that she loves about Wild Fields? I think she really wants to get.
Let's do it.
Okay, Josh.
What's your favorite part about Wild Fields?
We gotta.
Can you drop? Remember we were practicing. What would you tell people if you could tell them anything about Wild Fields?
Meow.
You're such a meower.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, okay.
Try again
Well,
later.
Okay, evidently she doesn't want to be on the mic. She
We
just wants
thought.
to be
Just what
on
we thought.
camera.
yeah.
On camera. She likes
We're
to be on
learning
camera.
about her.
We're learning more and more.
Okay, well, some fun stuff. Like, let's talk about beer names. How
Yeah.
do you guys decide what to
The
call?
best beer names
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
There's some weird ones. What's what's the brewery in Northern California that does all sours? They have the weirdest beer names. Whatever. We don't want to mention them. Who cares about them?
Yeah, who cares about them?
You guys got some good ones.
How do you guys even decide on that? Are
Like
there any
Pine
fun
Mountain
names?
Monolith? Like, how did that
behind?
happen?
Because the monolith appeared on Pine Mountain behind us.
How cool was that?
We jumped on that as fast as possible.
Yeah. Take any of those big
I mean,
headlines.
coming up with the names is definitely a skill. So it's like something that we've been practicing for a long time being in the industry, and you kind of get good at just taking inspiration from everything in life. And every brewer has a list on their phone in their notes section of just like name ideas. And every time something comes to you or someone says something funny, or you could put it in the phone. And then when it comes to the beer names, you pull it out and there might be one there. Or we like to do a lot of local inspiration because we're like a local spot. So we have like Montana de Oro and like Pine Mountain Monolith, Three Bridges. All our brown ales are named after hiking trails.
I love it.
We named a beer R2J2 because it was just like, I don't know where it came up. It just popped into my head. It's kind of like a combination of R2D2 and RJD2. And also there's 2 R's in our family and 2 J's.
Okay.
And after we did that,
smart.
then we started realizing, and we named a beer So Fresh and So Clear. It's like a hip hop reference.
Oh,
And
people like that.
we decided that all our double IPAs were going to be hip hop themed from there
So I
on
got to
out.
spend a day in the office just listening to 90s hip hop, and writing down any line that sounded like somewhat cool. So our massive whiteboard was just filled with hip hop names for
That's
the day.
incredible.
That's so
It
fun.
was really fun.
I think, usually most of the inspiration is either landmarks or like local stuff. Music is a big one. Music and art and like books and stuff. Like Unstuck in Time is a Kurt Vonnegut reference. I try to go obscure though. Like we have a beer called Cosmo Canyon, and if someone knows the reference, I know they're a huge nerd because
They
it's a
get so
Final Fantasy
excited.
VII PlayStation reference.
And they'll be like, "Oh, is that the?" And I'm like, "Actually, I cannot remember, but yeah, it's something." And,
It's-
do you play video games? They're like, and then they start going off on a tangent about why they know. And I'm like, I actually don't know. It's my husband's, but I will let him know that you liked it.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
so my favorite part is trying to get as obscure to the reference as possible so that people like only like true diehard fans of whatever that
I
is
love
know it's a
Dude,
reference.
you're such a great geek.
He is
I
such
love
a
it.
geek.
Oh, I want to geek
Such
out on you.
geek.
Hi, I'm running. I'm going to
gotta go.
leave you with Jeff.
So sorry.
You guys are incredible.
They are.
I've got an
incredible.
appointment showing, but I want to nerd out on you on the brewing. Part 2,
Yeah.
we'll nerd out on the brewing process.
Okay.
on.
Yeah.
Because
Come
I just
on.
want to learn. Okay, you guys are awesome. Here's Jeff.
Stream
Okay.
us later.
Cheers, thanks.
Yeah, I love it. So, jumping into collaboration with other breweries and putting together unique beers. I know you guys have done some of that, right?
Yeah, we love collaborating with other breweries, especially local breweries. It's just a fun way to engage with the beer community and also like gain more knowledge too.
Yeah, yeah. Can you share who you guys have collaborated with, or is it NDA'd or?
No, it's like part of it's marketing too. Like it's like bringing your brands together and cross marketing, and you get to kind of get someone else's fan base excited about you, right? So I mean, we've collaborated with like Spent Grain, Colony Mash, Central Coast Brewing, Liquid Gravity, There Does Not Exist locally.
We make the beer for one of the beers for Whale Rock
Oh, nice.
every year.
Awesome.
Yeah. Pizza Port, Beechwood we did.
Man,
one
you guys have
with.
done a lot of collaboration.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like the fun part.
I
Green
thought
sheet.
maybe like 2 or 3.
No,
You guys have
I mean,
done a ton.
ideally, if we
Spent
had more
Grain.
bandwidth, I would say we'd try to do one once a month if we had the time. There are some breweries out
Time
there
and
that,
energy.
yeah, it's a good way to build the brand, and also it's fun.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so
And
cool.
it's like I said, it's a good way to learn like new techniques and share ideas with other brewers too, because we're so busy. A lot of times we don't get to like hang out and talk shop too much, but it's a way to dedicate a whole day to just like talking shop with another brewer and
Wow.
like picking each other's brains.
It really is a family affair, you guys. So those that can't see because they're on the podcast, we have Jocelyn here on mic now. She's got her headset on and everything. It's super cute. So that is really special. So really, there's no I don't see any selfishness in it. It's like, oh, let's collaborate. Let's do this together. Let's make the best beer that we can.
I think that's one of the really beautiful parts of this industry is it's extremely competitive. You have to have really good product to stay in the market for very long,
Yeah.
but it's also very collaborative. So if someone comes to us and is like, hey, Ryan's done this in his career, call a friend. Hey, I'm doing this. It's not working out. Like, I can't figure it out. And they'll spend an hour on the phone and tries it
Try to
again, and
figure
we're
out.
good to go.
That's cool.
So
Yeah, I think the reason why the craft beer community is so strong and such a family is we are really fighting back against to bring it back to the way it used to be before Prohibition, right? Prohibition came and just annihilated the whole craft beer scene, and it just got monopolized. And we're trying to bring it back to the roots, where it's like every town has its own brewery. You're drinking beer fresh from right down the street, not beer that's been shipped across the country. You're supporting local community. You're supporting local family, and the craft beer community is still a small section of the beer industry, and we're all just trying to come together to get people to drink more craft beer, because we're just trying to get people to convert over from the macro side to the micro side, and right now we're all doing that together. And I think the rising tide raises all ships, or whatever that is.
yeah, whatever that thing is. That thing,
rising tide raises all ships.
There you go.
So I love that, and I love that the tie into community. I mean, I think for us, Landmark Group, like, we really value communities, and we're trying to like help people find their community where they can connect. And where you guys kind of fit in Atascadero, like, it was like an integral time. There's a lot of changes in Atascadero, a lot of things that are really positive that have been happening. And then here comes this cool brewery, and people are excited about it and showing up, and community really started happening there. And obviously the pandemic happened, but I think people, even like the diehards, like, we really are committed to going to Wild Fields because we want to see them be successful. We want to see them be in this community for a long time, because this is like an important part of what Atascadero is kind of becoming. So, I mean, I just see that, and I see that in you guys, and like, you pressed through. I think like 1 out of 100 people in your situation would have made it through to this day. Just the trials that you guys went through.
Appreciate that.
And it's tough, but
I do 100% agree with you that, like, the community, we were supporting the community, and the community supported us back, and that's why we dedicated like our space mainly to the local community. We didn't want to try to like focus on being some big brand somewhere else, and in turn the community supported us back, and they definitely helped keep us going.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it became one of those games. It was like, okay, well, this is us at our worst, and we're not going to bring in any money because there's no real business out there for us right now, and just get creative and find other ways to stay a part of the community. It was quite an adventure, but
You really grabbed onto this community, because you weren't even like, you just came in, and like all of a sudden you were at city council meetings and
the Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. That's right.
Jackie was
really
board
involved.
chair of the Chamber
I'm
of Commerce
past
last
chair
year.
now. I'm past chair. I get to say that loud and proud. But yeah, I mean, for me, my background was in urban studies, planning, and then community development. So that was kind of my mindset going into this, is knowing how big of an impact a brewery can have on a small community, and just kind of making sure we stayed focused on that direction no matter what the choices we were making. Okay, does that fit into kind of this overall goal of, if we look back in 15, 20 years, what do we want this to be for us? And for Ryan and I, it's to raise the kids, have a safe, fun place for people to go, and just really be like that heart, that hub of a small town. And it's, by doing that, it's been really, really great. Like the people in our corner are incredible.
I love it. Can I say something about your relationship that I just noticed? Like, sometimes you see
No.
couples. No, yes, no. I'm gonna do it anyway. Sometimes you just see couples that like, they don't connect with each other. And as we're sitting here, I wish people could see it. Like, you guys are looking into each other's eyes, making sure like, hey, we're in alignment with each other, and that we, what we say is, and you're feeding off each other, which is so cool.
We've gotten better at this.
Gotten really better.
We've gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
There's only been a few debates after things.
You guys are doing good. And you're a handsome family. So Wild Fields has done great things. I think you guys are definitely going places. Any sneak peek for listeners on like your future plans, anything that you're trying to do, anything you'd be willing to share with us?
Well, our goal right now is to stay open 7 days a week. I would say that's kind of our big focus right now. As much as multiple locations was a concept at one point in time, like I'm stepping away from day-to-day operations and taking on a job just to make sure we have some stability, because we love what we do and we want our staff to be able to stay and provide that. So it's kind of a weird time. Ryan's taking on the day-to-day operations with an assistant manager and a kitchen manager. So I would say just help us stay open 7 days a week. I mean, that's quite an undertaking, but we were just in a place where we had staff who needed hours and it was a slow season, and we're like, well, let's try it. And if it works, it works. And
I think for a lot of businesses, especially restaurants and breweries right now, surviving is thriving. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
So, and I will say one of the big things we're going to try to do this year is try to start up some cool like beer dinners or maybe some more like private events where we can really kind of talk to people directly about beer and utilize our new chef and some of his skills and make some cool little things for people. That takes bandwidth. That's and cool. So far we haven't had a lot of that.
Yeah, but we've had the plates to do it for 4 years now. So
wow,
it is time.
It's time. Well, we just did our client appreciation party at Wild Fields, and it was amazing. Like we had such great feedback. It was so fun. It was the most enjoyable. Our client appreciation parties are all great, but for me, it was the most enjoyable because I didn't have to take care of anything. I'm like, this is just all happening. It was so seamless, so easy, and I was able to sit back, have fun, hang out with people, drink a beer. And so if you're local and you're listening to this, like this is a great place for companies to come have their parties or hang out or celebrate their staff, whatever, birthday parties. I mean, it's just such a fantastic spot.
Yeah. We also host fundraisers. So if anyone is interested in that, it's wildfields.com/fundraising. We're using those Tuesday, Wednesday nights. Any Tuesday or Wednesday, you can get on our calendar, come on in, and then a portion of the proceeds goes back to your organization.
Sweet.
We have people who take it as far as like printed banners outside and they have a table and they have the news out there, and then we have people who just show up with their sports team that one night a week. And so it's kind of whatever.
That's cute. I love that.
Makes it best for folks.
That's awesome. Well, you guys are amazing. Is there anything that we should have asked you that we didn't?
I mean, I would say the biggest takeaway just about what Wild Fields is what I like to say is we have something for everyone. Like any single person can walk into Wild Fields and find something that they're going to enjoy, whether it's beer, food, games. You're going to meet someone there. Like you can just walk in and you can move around however you want, meet with people, meet friends you already know, make new friends. It's just kind of like that Cheers vibe where you just walk in and it's really something for all demographics. Like that was our goal. We have a lot of vegan, vegetarian options. We have non-alcoholic options. We have there's literally
wine, cider,
something for everyone.
You've really done a great job with that. Yeah.
It's that mindset. And, it's the spaces that we always found ourselves drawn to as our life ebbed and flowed. And, you have friends who don't drink or have food restrictions. And it's like, okay, well, where can we all go? Having kids with food restrictions got even harder. Like being allergic to egg and dairy, you can't go anywhere. Yeah. So it was just all of our life experiences that really solidified. Like, no, this is a real thing. Like we need to be there for everybody.
I love that. I love that some of the things from our childhood made it. Ryan and I grew up together. Yeah. Some of our things from our childhood made it into to Wild Fields.
Wait, what made it? Tell me more.
The eggs, what do you call those things?
Pickled eggs.
Pickled eggs, yeah.
Those are mine.
That was yours
thing.
But they are Ryan
always
favorite
had,
thing
egg
in the world.
sandwiches when we were growing up.
Yeah,
Ryan's an egg guy.
I
like that is.
Eat one of those a day at Wild Fields.
Yes.
I put them on everything too.
Ryan loves eggs.
Well, it's fun. It's just fun. It's like, what is that? It's a bunch of eggs. Well, hey, so as we conclude here, we would always like to ask a couple questions or a few questions. They're more personal. So the first one is, what's your favorite book, movie, or TV show?
Joss can answer this round of questions too, maybe.
Yeah? If you have a favorite book, Joss, you can answer it.
Or TV or movie.
You don't have to have
I'll go
one.
first while you think about it. I would say I'm a pretty big Star Wars nerd.
Yeah.
I'll go with Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars is good stuff.
Russell says Spider-Man in the background.
I love it.
He just watched it for the first time the other day. I would say I'm currently binging Bones again. So that's going to be doing a lot of spring
Nice.
break house cleaning. So
There you go.
watching a lot of Bones.
Yeah. Yeah, that time of year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you think of something, Joss?
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, The Last Airbender.
Oh, Last Airbender.
Korra.
Oh,
I like
sweet.
Korra.
Mm-hmm.
Very sweet. Okay, who's the most influential person in your lives?
That one's too hard. I have so many incredible
many.
people. You can have a person. Don't look at me. It has
I
nothing
mean,
to do with me. It's not
I'm going to
me.
go super corny. I was going to say Jackie.
I love it. Cute.
Called
I was such a
Jocelyn's little laugh is like the
giant
cutest.
nerd that was super unconfident before I met Jackie. Not that I wasn't going to get there in life, but she definitely
I pushed real hard.
Yeah.
she's an inspirational person.
I've seen you grow so much since you met her, so I concur. Okay, so we love the Central Coast. We always try to highlight something on Central Coast. What might be like your ideal family day?
Well, our favorite for a long time was the abalone farm where Ryan grew up. We used to go out there even though it was decommissioned and spend the day, especially during the pandemic in the summer, or just camp out there overnight. So I would say anywhere in Honey Buns, up or down the coast, just exploring a new spot. What do you think, Joss?
Honey
Does that
Buns
sound
is our
solid?
1987 RV that we bought during the pandemic for $1,000.
I love
She's
it.
a beast.
That's so cute. Wow, that's so fun. What a great interview, guys. Thank you so much for being on.
Oh, thanks for
Besides
having
just showing up to Wild Fields Brewery, what's a good way for people to get in touch with you guys?
Follow us online. So Facebook and Instagram is at Wild Fields Brewhouse. You can go on our website, wildfields.com, and you can also join our email list on there if you want. There's also a way to email us if you want to have a private party or event. It gets to me.
Our phone number is super easy to remember. It's 805-399-BEER.
Oh, I love it.
And we have a $3.99 beer special always, 100%
Thank you,
of the
Papa Jerry.
time. So that way people remember our phone number that
Yeah.
much easier. It's just,
Wow,
it's the
that's
$3.99
fantastic.
beer.
Wow, guys, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for bringing your little ones. I know it's so hard to find time, carve out time with the business of our schedules. Thank you again,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thanks
Wild
for
Fields
having
Brewery.
us.
Yeah, this was fun.
Thanks.
Yay.
Cheers.
Cheers.